What is your biggest fear?
Biggest fear, it's not failing. Like failure is not what I'm trying to say. It's not succeeding, which is not failing. Because failure can have growth. You can learn from failing. There's benefits to it. Not failing too hard, of course. But it's lack of success for purposes of like my family. I want my kids to not suffer. So my job is to succeed so that they have the opportunities to have a good, successful life. So it's my failure leading to their failure, I would say, but that's just a fear, and that's what keeps you hungry.
Hey there, hot messes. Welcome to Success of a Hot Mess, where we celebrate the art of juggling life's chaos and coming out on top. I'm Stacey Isaacs, your host and resident rock star lawyer, dance mom, and survivor. We're going to dive into candid conversations about conquering challenges, embracing our unique selves, and finding success in the beautiful mess of it all. Welcome to the show this morning. Happy to have you, Josh Frachtman, personal injury attorney in Parkland. Usually we start out the show with 5 questions. Is that okay?
That's great.
Josh, tell me, what was the first concert you ever went to?
I can thank my parents for making this answer very awkward. So I have little sisters, and in 5th grade, my little sister was obsessed with New Kids on the Block. So I got dragged to New Kids on the Block. So that is forever branded on me as my first concert. But then shortly after that, Billy Joel, which is actually ironically the last concert I saw. I just saw Billy Joel and Sting in Tampa. So nice little bookend to that.
That's awesome. Did you like New Kids on the Block better than Billy Joel?
No. I was very, as you know, 5th or 6th grade, like Billy Joel, I was like young for it, but that was awesome. It was like the 80s, and it was him and Elton John, and We Didn't Start the Fire stuff, and that was great. The other concert was definitely The Family's Going.
Right.
I guess.
That's like the modern day Taylor Swift concert, probably.
Right. And you know, my son is 12. I have a 10-year-old daughter that she would give anything for that, and she's not really understanding why we're not spending $7,000 when she comes here in October. But my son is like, please do not spend anything on me to go to that.
I love it. Okay, I know this is going to be a hard question, but what is your favorite song?
Favorite song is a loaded question because it depends on the mood, right? But it's an easy one for me because I have a unhealthy obsession with the band Pearl Jam. But then you ask me my favorite Pearl Jam song, it's even more loaded. But at the end of the day, it's always going to be Black. Just the range of that song, the power of that song. And recently, I've come across a bunch of YouTube videos where you have voice artists, voice coaches. You have voice coaches who have never heard the song, and they're listening to it for the first time, and just watching like them react to the range of Eddie Vedder's voice. It's like brings me back, and I'm like, this is why. This is the best song.
So when did this unhealthy obsession with Pearl Jam start? Like, how old were you?
My first Pearl Jam concert, I was in 9th grade. It was here in Fort Lauderdale. It was during the Ticketmaster strike. So I remember having to call in at 7 a.m. and wait on hold and busy signals to bleep through. Yeah. And the tickets, it was through some third party, not Ticketmaster, and it was at Fort Lauderdale Baseball Stadium. And we went. I knew the albums, 10 in verses. I knew what they were, but there were just a couple singles that were on the radio. When I went to that concert, I was just blown away. I'm like, this is a rock concert. This is everything. So 95, 96, I was just like, this is a whole new world. It opened my eyes to music.
So next time you come to one of my Hot Mess shows, you have to request Pearl Jam.
Stacey, I have requested it every single time.
I think you did suggest, but probably Nick, my co-lead singer, would be better.
Yes.
I don't think I could really do a good Eddie Vedder, but I do love Better Man.
Yes. It's funny. The last show we went to, Nick and I and one of the other band members, we talked about which would be the right song if you guys did it, and Nick was pushing Better Man, so I'm hoping for it.
Yeah, it's a good one. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
It would probably still be in this country with all the ups and downs we have. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, but it's a big country, and it's getting hotter by the day down here. So as much as I love Florida and I'm here, I would like something cooler. The West Coast is very appealing. The Pacific Ocean, the mountains, access to nature and rivers. I've been to Washington State, and you go from snow caps to orca watching in an hour. I've been to Colorado and Arizona, and it's just beautiful. but it's also a little remote. So it's hard to say. But I think West Coast, if I had no ties and no family and no community, but my family and my community is here. So I've lived here my whole life. I don't see myself leaving, even if it gets hotter.
And you're a Parkland native, like literally, right?
For the most, I went to high school here. I went to Douglas. I grew up in Coral Springs, so it's just a stone's throw over. And I swore I would never be back here. I'm like, get me out. I'm out. I'm not coming back. And then somehow, slowly, it just pulled me back. My firm is here. So when I was building a house back in 2013, I'm thinking you might as well live where you work. And raising my kids here, I couldn't be happier. I mean, we are so happy here.
And your firm, what is the name of it?
Zimmerman and Frachtman, PA. We are here in Parkland on 441 in Hillsborough. If you drive by, you'll see it doesn't look like it belongs in Florida. It's a building that looks like somebody took it from like New Jersey or Pennsylvania and like plopped it here with columns.
I agree. It's a beautiful brick building. Do you consider yourself an early bird or a night owl?
Easy one, night owl. I dread waking up in the morning. I can, and I do, and I'm the first one up in my family, so I have to wake up to get the kids moving, and my wife comes in and relieves me shortly thereafter. But I can also be up all night just watching TV or listening to music and podcasts. I can stay up and then still wake up, but waking up is not my favorite thing. I'm
with you on that one. What is your biggest fear?
Biggest fear, it's not failing. Like failure is not what I'm trying to say. It's not succeeding, which is not failing, because failure can have growth. You can learn from failing. There's benefits to it. Not failing too hard, of course, but it's lack of success for purposes of like my family. I want my kids to not suffer. So my job is to succeed so that they have the opportunities to have a good, successful life. So it's my failure leading to their failure, I would say, but that's just a fear, and that's what keeps you hungry, avoiding the fear.
Okay, so obviously we're both attorneys, but what do you do in your spare time besides listening to Pearl Jam on repeat?
Listen to Pearl Jam on repeat is probably one. But my family, right? So I coach a lot of youth sports. My daughter wants me to coach more of her, so I'm going to end up doing more of the girls' side of things. But I coached my son for the last 6 years in all the sports, mostly basketball and football, flag football right now here. In the rec leagues, nothing insane, not travel, although these rec leagues tend to get a little uncomfortably hectic. But that takes up a lot of our time. 2 kids in sports. We're at the fields and the courts all the time, which we love. And that really leaves very little room for much else.
And your wife, Julie's also an attorney, right?
My wife's an attorney. We went to law school together. We met in law school. They say, like, whatever you do, don't date someone in your section. Like, rule number 1, you're destined for failure. And, of course, on day 1, I meet her, and we immediately start dating. And for 3 years in law school, bar study, we were inseparable. Took the bar together. She gets a job in West Palm. I get a job in Hollywood with David, actually. And I get a call one day that my division is being plucked and brought to another firm. So I'm a first-year lawyer. I'm not making that much money.
Right. And
I'm thinking, wow, I'll take the raise. What firm is it? And it's my wife's firm. So, well, at the time, my girlfriend's firm.
Right.
It was a decision we had to make. Do we now want to work together in addition to everything? But we felt like we could because we have. So I accepted the job, and the partner had a conversation with her on a Friday, and I had no idea this conversation was happening. And he said, I know he's coming to work here. I would have felt a lot better if you guys were at least engaged or married.
Oh, wow.
We had no idea this conversation was coming, and she had no idea that when she came home that night, I was proposing. So, of course, the remainder of my career at that firm, the partner loved to tease me that we got married for the job.
But why did he feel more comfortable based on your marital status?
I think just for appearances in the firm. You know, like if you have 2 employees in any business that are dating and it doesn't end well, it can cause problems in the business. So like most employers, I think, would shy away from employees dating or even being married. But in this case, it was a good bet, worked out pretty well. And we just celebrated our 15th anniversary.
Congratulations.
So, thank you.
So how do you guys manage the coaching and going to concerts and everything that you have on your plate while you are attorneys?
It's a good question, and I'm not sure that we handle it all that well. I mean, we do it, and it's a lot, and we're exhausted, but that's okay. So work's first and family's first, and that's two things that are first, and you just got to find that balance. So I'm fortunate enough that I own my own firm, and my firm is, well, it was an 8-minute drive from the house before a road closed, but it's close enough that I can get home and do coverage and take the kids to where they need to be if I need to leave at 4 instead of 5 or instead of 6 one day. My wife, ever since my son was born, struck an arrangement with her firm. She's going to work from home. She's a partner in one of the largest firms in Florida, and she works from home in Parkland. So she's home, I'm close, and we can tag team off when we need to with the kids to get them to their activities. And if she has hearings or she has trial, I know I'm on call. And if I'm in trial or I have hearings, I know she's got my back. So we just balance. It actually works that we have the same profession. I can't imagine explaining to a non-lawyer why a certain hearing is so important. Not that even my wife wants to hear that, but I can't imagine trying to have them understand what goes into a trial and why it's so important. I need this time alone, and vice versa. Like, I get when she needs it too.
And so do you take calls from clients? Say a potential new client calls on a weekend. Are you taking that call, or are you shut down?
That's actually our business model, right? So when I meet with a new client, it's one of the things I talk about with them. I go, this is my cell phone number. Every client gets my cell phone number. I don't know that my wife loves that, but she also gets that. And so I will get text and calls, and they like to call off hours. They don't like to call during the day. That's
They're sleeping during the day.
Exactly. I find, like, okay, it's 5:05. That's when the call comes
Absolutely. Friday at 5:05.
Right. Saturday morning at 7:30 a.m. the phone's ringing. So, but that's what you got to do. And my kids have also learned that if we're driving and that call comes in, like, you guys got to be quiet. I need to take this.
Oh, they get it. That's good.
They get it. They don't like it.
Right.
I was on a Zoom yesterday with a new client, and my daughter came home from dance like a hurricane. She came rolling in, and I had my hand up. You know, she knew I was on a Zoom, and she comes up, and the background's blurred, so she thinks she's not going to be seen. She goes, "Oh, who are you talking to?" "Hi, I'm Gemma." And I'm like, "Oh, no." And luckily, cute, the client was cool with it and understood.
Yeah.
But the family gets it.
Yeah.
It's what we need.
And you yourself, do you play any sports? Any time for that?
There was a time where I would play more. I play in a couple pickup basketball games. I'm not very good, and I think all my friends who I play with will agree. And they're all, if they hear this, they're like, "Yeah, he's not very good at all." But at least I'm keeping myself active a couple days a week, and it's a good social and a good way out. And, you know, anytime you can sweat, it's probably a good idea.
Josh, has there been anything through the course of your attorneyhood that you have had to kind of make a huge decision and it shaped where you are now at the firm?
Sure. I think there's been a couple of those times throughout the career. I mean, you get opportunities presented in throughout life. You have to, is this a good idea? How does this ripple down the rest of my career? When I was doing defense work, I actually had a case against my current partner, and it was ugly, and we fought like crazy, and it got loud, and it got nasty. And the case resolved, and he called me up a week later, and he goes, "You are the most annoying pain in my butt. You need to come work for me."
I love that.
This happened as my wife was pregnant and my son was due in like a month. So I have to make this decision. Am I leaving a salaried job with a career track and trajectory, or am I going to a commission base? Am I starting fresh? And I told him my concerns, and he basically said, "I guarantee you that you will make at least what you made, and if you don't, we'll cover it until you do." And it worked out just fine. And I've been with this firm ever since. So that was in beginning of 2012. So for the last 12 years now, I've been with the firm. The firm has gone through ups and downs. Partners have come and left. I was an associate when I joined, and there were 2 named partners, and the firm was well established. And in 2019, it was like watching a divorce and play out. And I was like the child between the 2 parents. And I was sure the firm was going to dissolve. There's no way that this is going to solve itself. They're splitting up. I'm going to need to find a new job and fix my career. And then they both approached me individually, and they were like, "Come with me." So now I have to choose, which is the right choice. Go with A, go with B.
Was there one you liked a little better?
Well, I chose one, so we'll go with that one. I mean, I like them both. They were both very different, like, aspects of my personality. One guy was, a little more adventurous and exciting and a little more of a cowboy when it came to law. Other one's a little more conservative and more strict to the law, and this is how a case is interpreted. And so they both, like, influenced me in different ways. But at the end of the day, and I was about to go out on my own. I was like, I can't do either one. It's a mess. My current partner, Bob Zimmerman, came to me and he said, if you stay, your name will be on the firm, your name will be on the building, and you'll be my partner. And there was nothing else to think about. I mean, this is a building, a firm where I grew up in my backyard, where my parents live minutes from, where my dad gets to drive by and see his name on a building with pride on a daily basis. I couldn't be happier. And now I'm a firm in the business, in the community, and more active in the community and sponsorships. And it was the best decision I ever made, but it wasn't an easy one. And I easily could have chosen the wrong way and gone with the guy that I didn't go with. So I'm very happy with what I did.
It's funny how things just seem to work out.
Yeah.
I had something similar where I was with AIG doing defense for, 11, 12 years. And they laid off pretty much my whole department, including my boss. And David and I had a heart-to-heart, and he's like, I just can't see you going to do defense for somebody else right now, like at your stage in life. Let's just open our own shop. But I had to switch sides.
Right.
And
At that time, was David doing the plaintiff side, representing the injured, or was he still?
He was for another firm, and so was our other partner, William. So they kind of had to teach me how to do the other side, which is very different.
I think you had some good teachers.
Yeah, definitely. Even though they're younger than me, they're good teachers. What brought you into this world of wanting to be an attorney? Did it start young? Was it something you just did because you had to go to school?
It wasn't direct, that's for sure. My father's a chiropractor. My mom was a teacher. And they both kind of pulled at me from different ways. My dad, you should be a doctor. You need to be a doctor. You have to be a doctor. And my mom, who I think is more literature-based and academic, was more like, you'd be better suited as a lawyer. You can't keep your mouth shut, especially as a kid. The mouth would run. And I ultimately went off to UF, and I was a health science major. And I was going to go down the track of medicine. And somewhere around the end of sophomore year, we had to register for classes for junior year. And I went to register, and it was organic chemistry, and microbiology, and the next level up. And I looked at the options on the schedule, and it was 7 a.m., 8:30. I'm like, yeah, I'm out. All right, so I went to admissions, I went to the registrar's office, and I spoke with a counselor, and I said, I want to explore some other options. And somehow I chose psychology. I had all the prereqs for it already because it was health and science based, but it also kind of gave me that counseling and human interaction that I think I was looking for. So I have a psychology degree from UF, and when it came push to shove, I said, but I don't want to be an armchair doctor. I don't want to be doing, whether it's behavioral testing or therapy on that matter. What else could I do? And I think my mom kind of said, why aren't you going to law school? Use your psychology degree, use your science background, and put them together and go to law school. So that's how I ended up in law school, and that was the right move. Thanks, Mom.
In your household, with all the things going on day to day, do you guys stick to a specific routine or structure, or are you more like go with the flow? I
think it's day by day. Every day is different. I think the kids help structure it to some degree because they have scheduled events. So, the mornings are easy. We know it has to happen in the morning. You got to wake up at 6, get the kids up by 6:20, breakfast, get them moving, get them out the door. Then I have my son who's in middle school, so that's like the second layer behind it. The morning's easy. We know the routine there. But every day is different. So does my daughter have dance? Does she have theater? Does my son have football? Does he have baseball? What does he have? Is this a no day? Is this a tutor day? Is this a bar mitzvah lesson day, which is right now, which is really a lot of fun as we're starting this process. So the days drive that. And I think for the most part, my wife and I will look at the calendar. Like I rely on her, quite frankly, to put that calendar and keep it accurate. And she takes a lot of pride in it. So like if there is the slightest error in that calendar, she gets very defensive, but sometimes it happens. But we rely on the calendar.
Okay, so, is this a physical calendar hanging up or online?
No, this is the shared iCalendar on the iPhone. So we're on, we have a shared drive, and she puts it on everything I'm invited to. I've learned over the years, if I add something to the calendar, I better invite her to it. So because I learned long ago, just because I see it, she has no idea about it. So whether it's a concert or a trip or plans that I made with friends, I learned I better put that on her calendar too. So the calendar really drives the week, but we do have to look at it almost on the daily because it does change too.
But is there a set bedtime every night for the kids?
No. I wish. But that also depends on the night, right? So sometimes we're out. If my son has or daughter have an 8 o'clock game, we're not getting back till after 9:30. Then it's shower. So we really try to get the homework done right away from school. But sometimes the homework isn't happening till 9 o'clock because it's been bang, bang, bang after school. Hopefully when they're both in the same school, or at least getting home around the same time, we can do better. But right now, like one comes home at 2:15, the next one comes home at 4:15. So they're not even on the same schedule.
I'm absolutely with you there. I really want to have family dinners together. Like I do think that's important. Everybody sit down, but it's impossible when one gets home at 9:30 from dance.
Right.
The other 6 from track. David, whenever he gets home from the office, it's impossible, but it is a goal eventually.
And I also think having 2 working parents makes that even harder to do. But you try to find time for it. That's why I think family vacations are so important. Family spending time during the day on the weekends makes up for that to some degree. And the other thing we've really learned recently is get those phones away from the table. Because we were getting lazy. And next thing you know, one day we all looked around and we're all on our phones. Having dinner together at the table with the TV on. And we just knew that's not sustainable. So the TV's on, but we get rid of the phones at least. But
if a new client is calling, you will run and take the call.
Yeah, I didn't say the phone is hidden in a lockbox, in a vault at the bank, but it's not we're not scrolling, we're not watching Instagram or YouTube clips, while eating. We put a stop to that.
You guys aren't making a TikTok while eating?
I think my daughter's trying.
Yeah. With all that you have going on, okay, you're an owner of your law firm, which obviously comes with its own set of responsibilities beyond just the practice of law. You coach sports, you take your daughter to dance, you're a husband. Do you have any words to live by? Are there any quotes that drive you, or any tips you would have for the listeners on how to really manage all of it?
I would say don't waste time. I think wasting time that you don't have to waste will make it harder to do all the things you want in the limited time we have. I mean, the days are short. They go quickly. Like I said, we're planning bar mitzvah now, and we're sitting here. How did this happen? He was 5 years old like a week ago. And, they're like, both of my kids are certainly not adults, but they're not babies anymore. So time is short. And it's easier said than done to take control of your career or your profession or your job. But if you can carve a way to make it flexible, it makes all the other things easier. So flexibility in your work, being able to work from home, work on the road, work in the car, work on vacation, that doesn't mean you're not working. There's still work to be done. So if you're able to compartmentalize it, but also combine it, it makes it work.
I think that's great advice. Thank you for coming on the show, Josh.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having me.
You.
My pleasure. Thank you, Stacey.
And one more time, if anybody wants a personal injury lawyer, what is the name of the firm and how can they reach you?
Zimmerman and Frachtman, PA, 954-509-1900 is the office line. And once you call, you'll get my cell phone too.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Success of a Hot Mess. If you loved what you heard today, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a beat. And hey, sharing is caring. Share this podcast with your friends, family, and anyone who could use a dose of inspiration. Until next time, keep rocking those hot mess moments with style and grace. Cheers.